Randy Pitchford, the CEO of Gearbox Software, the creator of Borderlands, can keep on deflecting, keep on crying, but it doesn't change the fact that the Borderlands movie is a giant flop and a pile of garbage. He can talk about Borderlands 4, try to get fans excited for that. It also doesn't change the fact that he's a horrible human being. We'll get to that in a second. And Take-Two Interactive, the publisher of 2K games and of the Borderlands franchise, can say, give the film a chance. Let's see what audiences have to say. Audiences have said as much. The box office and everything is evidence that we all view it as complete garbage, and that this Borderlands adaptation should have happened long ago. This brings us to the Rotten Tomatoes page of Borderlands. 9% out of 100. Yikes, it's really that bad. Even the audience score pretty nasty here. And if you actually check the contents of these reviews, an insipid mismatch of trite genre tropes, Borderlands is devoid of any real edge. Video game movie adaptations have spewed out some serious clunkers over the years, but even by the lamentable standards of the genre Eli Roth reshoot plagued, Borderlands is abysmal, and it's pretty much just this. Nothing that works about the games has been adapted intact in this ugly, boring, truly inept piece of filmmaking. Borderlands arrives as a legitimate contender, not only for the worst film of 2024, but one of the worst video game movies ever released. And the Rotten Tomatoes page, the consensus is that it's a glitched out in every department. Borderlands is balderdash, and even on IMDb, not always reliable, but yeah, 4.3 out of 10, only 8,000 reviews for it, because nobody cares to see this pile of crap. Even the HBO showrunner, the Last of Us writer, he was the one who originally wrote this, wanted his name taken off, because once Eli Roth came in, took it over, he rewrote it, made it his own film, and Craig Mazin, I think that's his name, the guy who worked on Chernobyl and The Last of Us, said, that ain't me, don't want anything to do with that pile of crap, because he knew that this was going to be a massive stinker, and I don't blame him. You do not want to be attached to this absolute travesty of filmmaking. And this review coming from Forbes is a great summary of why it's a pile of shit. A Borderlands fan regretfully reviews the Borderlands movie. It goes on to mention that the script does not resemble any Borderlands game at all, other than it's vaguely about finding Pandora's vault. They make the thrust of the story an off-canon rewriting of Tina into being some Atlas-made clone, using Iridian DNA to open the vault as a chosen one, her only connection to her original character being her bunny ears and saying things like Delio. The script is not good, but neither is the action. This is what I'll now be calling Rebel Moon Syndrome, where a PG-13 cut neuters the action of something that clearly should have been R-rated. And he continued, pointing out that the Borderlands movie debuted originally with a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. And again, all of the reviews, everything is just absolutely bashing it because it's terrible and fans deserve better. And again, yeah, it points out that it is one of the worst reviewed scores of the year, or in recent memory, I should say. And it goes on to mention that from his original review, this is neither a good Borderlands movie nor a good movie, period. It feels like Gearbox and Eli Roth tried to split the difference here, making a massive appeal PG-13 action film, but gesturing vaguely at the games to try to get that crowd to show up too. But the end result is throwing the Borderlands games at a wall, watching them shatter, and gluing back together a handful of mildly recognizable pieces. I said in the piece that the casting of Kevin Hart and Cate Blanchett are big problems as expected. Everybody knew that. As soon as we saw that little mini guy, Kevin Hart playing Roland, everybody was just scratching their head because it just makes absolutely no sense. But I'm guessing Gearbox and whoever was in charge of casting thought, popular black guy, throw him in the role. Hart mostly acts like a barely toned down version of his usual self, and again, nothing like Roland. Blanchett is, of course, normally a great actress, but a 30 or so age increase from Lilith, again, is bizarre, and also makes no sense within the confines of the film, as actresses close to her age appear to remember her as a child. And all of this leads us to this absolute box office bomb. This has over $100 million it cost for them to produce this. It was actually filmed like 3 or 4 years ago. Editing hell, all of that stuff. Only got about 8.8 million, I think, in domestic. I think overall, worldwide, it's like 15 or so. This is going to be a massive bomb for who, I'm not sure which studio was in charge of this, but it probably needed to break 300 to 400 million. Ain't gonna get anywhere near that. Ain't gonna get there. And it is important to realize the Borderlands creator we're about to talk about is not a good human being. I just want people to remember that. Before there was the Anthems, Mass Effect Andromeda's, Fallout 76's, we had Aliens, Colonial Marines, and Duke Nukem Forever, games that Randy Pitchford was responsible for in some regard. And on multiple occasions over the years, he has gone on the defensive about saying that he loves it, he thinks they're great games, ridiculous statements. He also has lied multiple times, been exposed for it on numerous occasions, and had full-on meltdowns about this. Aliens is a great example of that. And he was also called out by the voice actor of Claptrap, who said that he bullied him, harassed him, shoved him, humiliated him. David Eddings, I believe that was his name. And we also had Randy Pitchford during the George Floyd protests and everything, trying to sell Duke Nukem 3D. Here's the tweet. If you want to do that this weekend, here's the Duke Nukem 3D 20th Anniversary World Tour. And the funny part is he didn't even discount anything. He just tried to shill his product during a very controversial tragedy, everything that was going on. We also have the fact that he cut bonuses. He promised bonuses to his development team for Borderlands 3 and just said, nope, that's not going to happen. And a lot of people bringing up the fact that he himself got massive bonuses, millions of dollars, but I guess he shafted his own employees because he is a scumbag human being. Then on top of that, we have the infamous USB stick at Medieval Times. I guess Medieval Times is like a cafe or something like that. But he had adult content and company secrets on that USB stick, and he left it behind. And there was allegations in a lawsuit that the contents of that was actually underage. And one portion of the suit makes two sensational accusations about Pitchford's behavior: that he accidentally left a selection of underage, that type of content, on a USB stick at a restaurant, and that he used his company's money to host parties where adult men have reportedly exposed themselves to minors. To the amusement of Pitchford, the allegations about a USB stick places its discovery at a 2014 Medieval Times diner and tournament located in Dallas, down the road from Gearbox's headquarters. Callender alleges in the suit that someone from the restaurant perused the USB stick's contents upon their discovery and then contacted the game's studio so that its employees could recover it. Pitchford declared that the thumb drive was his and requested its prompt return. Citing information and belief, Callender alleges that the USB stick in question contained Randy Pitchford's personal collection of that type of content. In addition to the sensitive corporate documents, this was actual content related to Borderlands 3 before it was even announced or released. And a former employee saying that he's a liar, con man, anything more than that, they have no idea. And Randy actually admitted to this. He said, bizarrely, that he corroborated some of the story, saying that the content was barely over 18-year-old content from a creator. That's Randy Pitchford. That is the man we're talking about. And I just need people to understand the horrible human being we're talking about. There's so many more examples I can bring up, but this is one of the most infamous Randy Pitchford stories over the years. And this brings us to his absolute meltdown over his movie flopping. He said, yesterday I blocked a bunch of truly nasty accounts, but in the process I've accidentally blocked at least 3 good accounts, including at least one person I like and have actually met in person. I'm sorry, sincerely I've mistakenly blocked you, no excuses, let me know if I screwed up, blah 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 blah. And then he goes off on Paul Tassi. You remember that Forbes review I just brought up a second ago? The one that was, again, a Borderlands fan reviewing a terrible Borderlands movie. Well, Randy Pitchford had this to say about Paul Tassi. Oh, except for that Paul Tassi guy. It was pointed out to me that I blocked him too. So far, I think accidentally blocking 3 people. Not Paul Tassi. I thought he was being a dick, and so I blocked him on purpose. I unblocked him, but I might block him again. Something about that dude's attitude just feels off to me. I read some crap he wrote where he seems to act like he knows me and fronts like he knows something he doesn't, and that doesn't rub me right. Bad vibes, but I don't know him at all and only know that he writes on Twitter, so who knows? The internet can be a mess sometimes. It's strange to be someone other people seem to want to think about and talk about, and I know he's super obsessed with the stuff me and my company make, and I know he's a dude who's making a living talking shit, so good for him. Again, all of this is because Paul Tassi pointed out the fact the film's horrible. He said some tweets about it, the fact that it was getting 0%, and I guess Randy Pitchford takes this as hate rather than criticism. It's truly astonishing the reaches he's making here, but this is Randy Pitchford we're talking about. But he did continue because Paul Tassi pointed this out, saying, yes, tagging me, insulting me with an entire paragraph broadcast to 690,000 people as extremely normal behavior and does not at all reinforce anything I said. Thank you for unblocking me, sir. He said, also, if by super obsessed you mean, again, he's just a fan of the franchise. He plays Borderlands games. You mean I've played hundreds of hours of every Borderlands game, a series I like, wow, you got me. And this is where he again goes on a tirade, an absolute meltdown. And also spending hundreds of hours talking. Look at this fucking paragraph he has here. Spending hundreds of hours talking about it, which is cool in your business and your prerogative, but you're not exactly normal when it comes to Borderlands. What does that mean? I genuinely, it's cool. I'm obsessed with a bunch of stuff, including Borderlands. I wasn't trying to get you with the comments. And then he goes on saying that not every day that someone gets an offer to chat with the creator of something they've spent hundreds of hours enjoying. My aim will be to sincerely understand you better and to share your fellowship over something we obviously both love. How will you use that offer? Cheers. Again, he's so cocky, arrogant. It's frustrating. Somebody pointed out, why are you acting like such a deranged fool? Paul writes gaming articles for Forbes. It's literally his job. He said, must be some new usage of the word deranged fool you're using. I got the vibes. He's obsessed with Borderlands, not me. I'd be quite content for the dude to never think of me again. Cheers. And he did continue. He said this was an original post to Paul's comment right here. He said, it's my opinion that you enjoy talking shit at my expense. Your comment here further and reinforces my opinion. It's super strange given that you seem to love something I also love and brought into the world. I'm just trying to make entertainment. Again, people like Borderlands. I think the Borderlands franchise is drastically overrated. My perspective has always been that Borderlands 2, great game. Borderlands 1 and a couple of the others are okay, but most of the new Borderlands stuff's been fucking awful. And yeah, this guy also is an absolute loser in the gaming space. If you want to make an argument about lolcows and gaming executives that personify that, Randy fucking Pitchford, front and center of that. He said, I'm just trying to make some entertainment. I'm glad some of it is really engaged you. I'm sorry everything we doesn't hit you. I get you're doing your gig, but why be a jerk about it? And then he did continue. Again, he went to one of Paul Tassi's first tweets, the fact that he wrote a book, and I think he was trying to mock him. I'm really not sure. Should I read this? I'm going to try and build a bridge here because I'm an idiot. Dude isn't just a critic. Dude is out here making stuff, adding to the world. I respect that. I blocked him because I thought he was trying to hurt me and hurt something I love. Another person saying, it's wild that you blocked a guy for his review, blasted him to over 600,000 people, and now you're trying to make up that by asking if you should read his book. I didn't block him for the review. I blocked him because I felt he was being a that. He was trying to hurt something I love, and he was trying to hurt me. He reviewed your terrible fucking movie that's going to flop horrible at the box office. And again, it's just another long list of failures that happened under your guise. So Randy Pitchford, he is quite the character. Another person saying he's a journalist and video game critic. He's allowed to voice an opinion about things. He said, yep, and I'm also allowed to block people I think that are a-holes. Cheers. So what you're saying, and then this was, I guess, a response to all of the criticism he's saying. So what you're saying is you like what my friends and I do with our Borderlands games, even more than you like what some of the biggest and best cast and crew, if you're calling this the biggest and best filmmakers and creators and actors, Jesus, Randy, on the planet have done. I'm super flattered. We're working extra hard for you on what's next. And again, this is the tease to Borderlands 4. And Randy Pitchford wasn't just unblocking journalists. It was also one of the most popular Borderlands creators on YouTube. And they said, well, that's one way to handle criticism. And another individual saying, I genuinely think Randy needs to step down or be replaced from his position at Gearbox. Randy, though, of course, responded, having another meltdown, saying, bro, you're obsessed. Keep making videos. As for me, I'm not sure I will ever know how to retire. Making shit is my obsession, and frankly, every miss makes me want to just swing harder. I'm now actually curious what you think about what we're working on, keeping your eyes open and your head straight. Another person saying, Randy, with criticism, you used to take it on the chin, and very well, especially back when Duke Nukem Forever was released. I don't know about that. And he said, what criticism haven't I taken? Well, it's this entire ordeal. He's acting like a fool, a deranged fool. Another individual bringing up an old tweet of Randy, which has not aged well. Borderlands anime, are you on drugs? That sounds like a terrible idea. It actually sounds like a fucking fantastic idea. Borderlands anime, kind of like Cyberpunk that happened not so long ago. I think it would be a fantastic collaboration. Brandy said, I think an animated Borderlands would be cool, but I don't parse that the same as anime. I think anime is a very specific genre, and I don't think Borderlands is well suited for it. I could be wrong, just my opinion, man. I think he is wrong because this man just enjoys producing non-stop slop. And then one of the final tweets I will bring up is, again, him having, just continuing with a meltdown. Somebody just wrote David Eddings under one of his posts. Again, that is the former Clap claptrap actor, the same one that I brought up a bit ago that said that Randy bullied him and all that stuff. He said, congrats, you're that. Don't you have a movie that needs moving to a streaming platform soon due to floppy reviews? Hoping you'll also learn to keep your hands on yourself, Randy. Assaulting people and then firing them is diabolical work. And then Randy said, it's interesting that you like that story, and it's sad to me that the dude feels like he needs to tell it, but your buddy's behavior has cost him every partnership and every career he's ever had. Again, he's just continuing to go after this individual years after the incident. Somebody saying the simple fact is that you know that this movie stinks. You just can't express that because of being so close to it. He said, I sincerely do not think the movie stinks. I enjoyed it, and I'm super glad that it exists. I don't know if I agree with nothing close to the games, depending on what you mean by that. If you're saying that my friends and I have done a better job with the games than this unbelievable cast and crew of filmmakers did with this movie, I'm very flattered and I'm happy to live in that world. I'm close to it. It seems about half the people who actually see the movie seem to like it. Okay, Randy. And half the people who see it don't like it. That's cool. All opinions are valid. The Beatles had more #1 hits than any other band in history, and their hit rate was less than 20. Randy Pitchford is comparing the Borderlands fucking movie to the Beatles. That's how it is with entertainment. Gotta keep swimming. And that is the delusional human being that we're talking about here. And why I just do not like this man, do not trust him with anything, and why I feel he got lucky with the Borderlands franchise, because most things that he has touched since then has been just non-stop slop and trash. Anyway, have you seen the Borderlands film? Are you planning to? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Thank you for watching. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy this video, and I'll see you later.